Yeah, it's the Swole Patrol, the best podcast about fitness and being super buff. Our guest today is James Preston Rogers. He has 3 names because he's fucking huge. He's the size of an elephant and he has muscles coming out of his muscles. He even has a buff face. I don't know how you train your face, but this man has done it and he's 6'11". Nice.
That was nice. That was nice.
Man.
And it pretty much describes the situation we're in.
It is.
Greatest intro I've ever had.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. The show, people, is on fire. It is the Swole Patrol podcast. If you like the show, please tell others. Give us a 5-star like on their iTunes. We would really appreciate it. And, of course, subscribe if you like. On Twitter, I'm at Mike Catherwood. Dr. Drew is at Dr. Drew. And the Swole Patrol is at Swole Patrol Pod. At First Lady of Love is the one and only producer of said show, at First Lady of Love. So you can send her all the negative feedback because I can't take it.
Thank you.
My ego just cannot take it. 5 minutes of your time can make a huge difference for us, and we really appreciate it. So like I said, go into give us those 5-star reviews. If you believe in the show, I don't want you to lie. If you like it, and I hope you do, go to drdrew.com/survey. That's drdrew.com/survey. Thank you so much for supporting the show, and you can take that survey there. It is not long. It is not extensive. We really do appreciate it. Join the email list today on drdrew.com and send your questions at drdrew.com/contact. Use hashtag Swole so we know what you be talking about. Our guest today, as I introduced, is a huge person, both personality and in size. This man is big. I don't know. I really can't oversell this, can I, Dr. Drew?
No, I don't think
this
so.
is a gigantic human being, and we are very excited to welcome actor James Preston Rogers. Hello, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, it's our pleasure.
Great.
It really is.
Awesome.
James and I were in a film together.
Yeah, that's
how we met.
Kind of where your paths crossed. You guys were in Bob Saget's film.
Benjamin.
Yeah, and we met again at the premiere the other night in the Beverly Hills Film Festival. And that was quite a gathering. There was quite some talent there to check out and support Benjamin. Yeah.
And even people that weren't in the film, heavy talent, and everyone's like, I support Bob. If Bob asked me, I'm coming. Everyone loves Bob.
Oh, Bob Saget's a really nice guy.
Beautiful human being, yeah. So giving, so generous. I mean, directing, he knew what he wanted, man, and it was really good to work with someone who has that many years on the set.
Yeah. Describe the character you play.
Yeah, my character I played a semi-pro hockey player with a Russian accent, and I was Perry Gilpin. She played Roz on Frasier for many months.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And me and her, we got signed on 24 hours before we had to go to camera the next day, and I got the call like, okay, we're going to go with you. And great, here's the script. So I'm going through and reading my stuff. I'm like, who's playing Marley? They're like, oh, we don't know yet. And Marley has soliloquy after page after page, and they hadn't even booked her yet. Like, oh, we got the girl that played Roz, Perry Gilpin. She's going to come play. I'm like, wow, she's got a lot to do. We get there the next day. She's verbatim. She's word for word.
Wow.
She has emotion. She's deep. I'm like, wow, like we just really, really brought it. And I was very impressed watching her performance and honored enough to share the screen with her. Basically, I played her. She kind of left the family. She's traveling the world, and I was her boyfriend at the time. Like I said,
she throws him away to go back to SAG.
Yeah, she dumps me again for Bob. So that was a little traumatizing.
How many beautiful muscular men have been dumped for Bob Saget? I mean, it's an age-old tale.
We're gonna start a group, man. We're gonna start a group.
Listen. I'm just speculating here, and if I'm totally off and I offend you, go ahead and punch me in the face. But a guy like you, at your size, and like with your build and everything you got going on, oftentimes you get into Hollywood stuntman first, then you get in front of the camera, and they realize you actually got some acting chops. Is that what?
Yeah, that's correct. When I first started getting into acting, people were like, "You're either going to be an actor or you're going to be a stunt guy. Choose." A lot of my friends pick stunt. It's quick money. It's money. Right away.
But it's tough work.
It is tough work. You got to be willing to take the hit, take the bump. I've done stunt work. I stunt myself. But I chose the road a little less traveled. I wanted to be an actor. Luckily enough, like my second scene I ever did in my life was with Tom Selleck. It's on my demo reel. It's online, and I watched it. I watched it playback. It was on CBS. he actually used that clip on the Regis and Kelly show to pitch the show. And it was like I've had like 2 acting classes, and I watched me and Tom. I'm like, wow, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
Like, I can do this. This is the first thing that I've done. Like I looked heavily trained. I look like I know what I'm doing. I'm like, oh my God. And I just fell in love with people like, hey, you're like, a lot of congratulations. And it was a really good feeling for me, you know? And then you get in, then you dive into classes, then you dive into scripts, and you start peeling the onion, and man, it's just so much, it's just so rewarding of an industry for me. Like, I played college basketball, and I really had to work to get to that level. I'd hoop on my driveway. I practiced every night. I played in 3 different leagues, and I made all-star. I was good, but there was always some guy in the gym that just kind of came and screwed around. He was better than I was, and it's like, and that's what acting kind of is for me. I kind of stumbled into it, and I was just like, man, I watch this stuff play back, and I get these auditions, and I just turn them around, and I mean, it's the only thing I've really kind of been good at, you know, and it's very rewarding for me. Sometimes it's difficult to get casted because of my size. You know, they try to if I stand beside a lead like a Tom Cruise or someone of that nature. Like Ron Perlman told me, we did Outlander many moons, like 2008 together, and he says, you're going to have a hard time in this industry. I said, why? He's like, your size. He says, do you think Tom Cruise is going to stand you beside him in his film?
He's a big guy too, though, Ron, right?
You'd think so. Yeah, he plays big, but like I'm tall, so unfortunately when you shoot the frame, like I'm almost out of frame a little bit. I had another thing with me and Tom Selleck were hanging out one night, and he was telling me that his first job he played on The Fall Guy with Colt Seavers. He says, so he comes in, they stand him on an apple box, he falls off. So Tom's like, Selleck's like, needs to say next day they didn't call me back. He says, you're going to have a difficult time. And I've been 16 years in this business. I got about 40 movie credits under my belt. So if you think about, it takes roughly about 10 auditions to book something. So I've got about 400 auditions under my belt. I've got 16 years. So I'm ready. You know, I'm ready for something to come down. And things are happening now. Now I'm at the point where I don't have to play everything. Benjamin was a great script. They got a lot of really good talent to come in there because it was a well-told story, and that's you want to attach yourself to pieces that move you, and they're going somewhere. Gone are the days where I just signed up and did everything.
He reminds me of our friend Tate Fletcher a little bit, or even Keith. Keith Jardine doesn't act though, does he?
He's a stuntman.
Is he? Stuntman.
I was in a movie with Keith Jardine. We had a fight scene in the octagon. He killed me. I came in, he dum, and I was doing it.
But Tate was a stuntman who started acting. Right.
Well, get back to your question. I apologize. I go off.
It's all good. No, man. Listen, there's nothing worse. I'd much rather have people go on 11 tangents than give one-word answers. You know, that's if you want to talk all you want. I can give a shit what you talk about.
So I just decided, and I did some WWE training as well. Like I did judo when I was a kid, and I did some Greco-Roman.
Oh, maybe we should do a little judo here. You and
you do judo?
Fuck James. You, Dr. Drew.
I thought you said judo was all about leverage. It didn't matter how big the guy was.
Yeah. There's very little leverage I can do at 5'10".
What? All that talk you've been telling me about leverage. Here it is.
Yeah, I'm talking.
Chance to prove it to me.
Yeah, I could deal with like a 2-inch advantage and maybe 20-pound difference. There's no leverage that deals with 100-pound difference. Asshole.
That's so good.
So I had opportunities to do stunt work, and I just basically stunt my own character in Frontier. I did with Jason Momoa. It's on Netflix season 2. I got a chance to do my own stunts, and the production don't want you to do that. And Jason's like, maybe you shouldn't do that. You might get hurt, and what if you can't do the dialogue? And I've been rolling since I was a kid, and I'm just active. I'm just that kind of guy, and it's good. Like I could do stunt work, but then the casting directors are not going to call in stunt guys to read heavy dialogue,
right?
Yeah,
because you're typecast. Oh, he's a stunt guy. Next,
yeah.
And I have a lot of my friends are great actors, and they're back home in Toronto where I started. And they
is that where you played basketball? Was up there too?
Yeah, I played college for Sheridan College. I played college ball up there, and that's what happened to them. I mean, the great actors took all the classes, can really deliver dialogue, but won't get the chance because they have 59 stunt credits, so they won't call them in. So I did have to pass. I starved for a few years chasing the dream. But it's finally starting to pay off. I got a great support system in my wife over there, my beautiful Elsa. Hey, sweetie. And my pop back home in Toronto, he's super cool. I mean, when I first started acting, he was a little bit like, how much you get paid? I'm like, well, this is like an indie film, Dad, so I didn't get paid. So he was a hard sell. My dad's a 40-hour overtime kind of guy.
Right.
But he's bought into the dream now, and he's with me, man. So it just took some time to get here, and finally things are starting to pay off.
You're speaking a language I can at least understand. I'm not, an actor, but I'm married to one, and her father was a physician, and worked crazy hours, and everything was mathematical. He's a man of science, and so the idea that you would just go a year without working, but you try really hard, and you do something just because it's good work, but it's not paying a lot. It doesn't make. Was there ever a time where you said there was like these hard nights and these times, these really lean years, or a year at least, where you were putting in the work and not getting anything in return? Was there those moments where you're like, maybe I should listen to my dad? I could go back and get some pretty good work as fill in the blank.
I mean, even today I still check in. I mean, when you go long enough without working, you're like, did I make the right career move? Like, I got a wife now. We're looking to have some children. I'm like, I still look back and you still care. But I mean, anything else to me is I don't want to say work, but I mean, I can only get this feeling when I'm on set. I'll explain it. You're married to an actress. Yeah. Some guy writes a story, turns into a script. There's got to be a part in that script for you. You got to go audition and beat 20 other guys out to get on that. And then you got to go hair, makeup, wardrobe, and then you get to work with other people. You have the script, and you see your interpretation. The writer has his, the director has his, and you all come together and you make this thing that's on this screen. It's like you're a piece of something. I can only get that feeling. You can only get the between action and cut. You have to earn that. You can't buy your way onto set. I can't cheat my way onto set. You can get anything for $1. You can pay money and get any kind of fix you want, any kind of rush, any kind of sensation, except getting on set. You have to earn that. You got to beat people out. You got to have that character's got to look like you. It's a real thing, man. When the director says action and it's all quiet and you're delivering it, it's almost like a Matrix for me. Things slow down, and I'm in this moment with the other actress or actor, and it's just a beautiful thing, and I can't get that feeling anywhere else. I really can't. So for me, I mean, could I do something else? It's so past the money for me now. It's just this. I have to do it.
This is we're sort of drifting away from Swole Patrol. Sort of
sorry,
arena. But listen, but it fascinates me because it makes me think about what Jack Lemmon used to say about. Do you ever read stuff about what he would do?
No, what
he would. People just would describe him. He would say something before every take, like it's magic time. It's time to make magic or something. He had this one phrase he would say, like "Let's go have fun."
That's what I say before I fuck.
I know. Was that magic?
Yeah, it's magic time. My wife laughs, and then
it's over.
And then I disappoint, and then I give 30 seconds.
But you ought to read about his little process because it feels like the way you describe what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to me.
And this thing back to training, back to Swole Patrol. I mean, I always went to the gym and I would put a spin on things like I'm training. Like, hey, what are you training for? And I'm like, well, life, I'm just training. As opposed to saying I'm working out because you want to go to work. So I put a spin on I'm training. 25 years later, here I am. It's paying off. I'm doing film that I've loved. So I didn't know that I was training for this the whole time. And
well, that's an interesting little psychological shift we've never talked about in working out versus training.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I always call it training.
No,
I do say something.
Yeah, you should, and I think you should if you're actually training. A lot of people call it training, but they're not. They're exercising.
I'm not.
There's a difference.
I'm exercising.
Exercising is sweating.
But I feel like training, in a sense, I'm using my time as sort of it's meditative and it's
productive. Like
productive.
Exercise almost sounds like work to me. Exercise, I think sweating. I think aerobics, 20-minute work. I'm thinking work. Training, I'm like, you're training for something. It's like you're training. You're bettering yourself.
It's
also with sort of Swole Patrol style. You're incrementally trying to outdo yourself a little bit. You're always trying to do a little better, even though you may not. You're just trying.
Well, and you were saying, James, like, we're getting away from Swole Patrol, but not in reality. I mean, because a lot of people, they'll hit me up on Twitter and they'll say, I listen because I love you and Dr. Drew, but I'm not into weightlifting or I'm not into fitness. I'm not into powerlifting. I'm not into bodybuilding. And I was like, well, that's definitely not my goal with the podcast. I wanted it to be about overall health, and that includes emotional and psychological.
Oh, yeah.
And believe me, I don't have to tell you, I'm sure there was a lot of psychological damage and a lot of built-up emotional strength when you got turned down from your 39th audition.
Oh, yeah.
On your way to maybe getting the 40th. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Oh, I mean, when I first got into the business of getting – they don't tell you didn't get the job. Like, you go for a job interview, they call you back, well, we're going to go another way. Okay, thank you. They don't tell you in this. You audition, you're like a month later, like, maybe I'll get called tomorrow. But it's the next day that you don't get it.
Yeah.
But what really happens for me is that I was really skinny growing up. I was tall. I was 5'10" in grade 10, going into grade 11. So the summer of grade 10. So you get out, June? So July and August. I was 5'10". I came back 6'4".
Holy mackerel!
Yeah, that's half an inch a week for 8 weeks. So I had growing pains, my hips, my knees. I was, so I was really skinny. And I have this one girl, I have this memory in my head. I come back and I'm so tall and skinny. This girl looks at me and she says, "You know what? If you went to the gym, you'd really be something." Meaning, I'm nothing right now. So I was constant. So I went to the gym, compound movements, eat as much food as I can. And I'm playing basketball at the time too, so I'm running all the time. And you're trying to put weight on. It wasn't until I stopped playing basketball and not stopped running so much that the weight started finally coming back on. But I was skinny, and I have I still look in the mirror, see the not ugly, awkward 14-year-old kid looking back at me all skinny and scrawny. I know when I step on the scale, I know when you get reactions from you guys, I know I'm a big guy, but I still see a bony little kid looking back at me when I look in the mirror. So that keeps me motivated, keeps me going to the gym.
And it's hard to kind of keep that healthy because you don't want to distort it too much because
totally. Oh, again,
I can't tell you how many times I've talked to in both directions. I talk to guys that are 280 and they 1,000 milligrams of test a day, 100 IUs of growth a day, and they're shredded and they still see that scrawny little weakling. In the opposite direction, I can't tell you how many girls I talk to that are way too thin, and they say I still see that fat girl in me.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to what you said about the health in between the years. Like there was a time there I wouldn't chew gum. I ate the same meals for 3 years. I didn't want to spike my insulin. I was super shredded, but that was okay for me. Like I didn't mind. I didn't want the pizza. I wanted the abs down to my knees, and I had that. And then I've been the other side. I've been big and heavy, and like just a big football player, really strong in the gym, lifting, and I've done that. But for me now, I'm happy with going to the gym, training, and I enjoy some pizza with the wife because that's cool for me. It's about this too, as long as Dad is fine and healthy. Yeah, because you don't want to because the brain is the most powerful thing in the universe that we know of, and all of us, each one of us, own one. It can spiral you down into addiction, into like self-destruction, or it can spiral you the other way into something beautiful. So I just make sure that the brain is healthy and everything else will fall into place.
How did you arrive at that point where you have a real balanced and kind of healthy approach? Because even more so as someone who's in front of the camera, I would imagine the temptation is to get into an unhealthy, by any means necessary, I have to look a certain way kind of attitude.
Yeah, I think so. I think good upbringing. I was lucky. I was loved a lot as a child.
What? That's unheard of.
I got a great wife. I got a good group of friends. I've kept around me for a number of years, and you just keep things in perspective, so to speak. I know. You just know what's healthy. You know what's right. You know what's wrong morally. You know it's morally right and morally wrong. So you just pretty much tote the line yourself, and I'm just happier this way. This is just how I'm happier, I'm just happy this way, keeping the brain clean and enjoying my wife, and everything just coming into place. It's a beautiful time in my life.
Do you live in Southern California?
Yeah, I live in Hollywood. Yeah, right by look at the sign every day. Because I'm from Toronto, Canada, so it's been the dream to come down here. But the thing about me is I'm Canadian, so you have to get a green card. You can't just come down here, and you have to prove that you're a professional actor or a professional something. So I went through all the paperwork and all the lawyering, so I finally got my green card. I'm here, chasing the dream. Yeah, and the greatest country in the world, man. So we're staying, and it's a beautiful time in my life, man. This is a long time coming, and it's beautiful. It feels great, man.
And your wife's name is Elsa?
Yeah.
How hard was it when Frozen came out? Because your name probably it's got a whole new. It's just like a whole new light got shined on you, huh?
Because I had never heard the name Elsa before I met her. I thought, Elsa, it sounded like an old German grandmother, right? But she's definitely not. She's
like Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah, totally. Mom. That's what I was thinking too. But we get along great. We're both here. She's actually Mexican. I met her back home in Toronto. She was there visiting a friend. I was working the door. Bada boom, bada bing. Here we are, 6 years married now. I've known her for 10.
That's
yeah,
great.
Beautiful.
Elsa, was that that Kristen Bell's character? Or is that the other one? Yeah, she was that one.
I don't know.
I was not. My kids had grown up by the time Frozen came around. So
your kids were already in college.
So I have all the Disney films up to 97, 98, and then cut off.
You're a Aladdin kind of.
Probably Hunchback, Aladdin, that kind of stuff.
I have to. I'm right. My daughter.
Little Mermaid.
My daughter turns 4 tomorrow, so. Elsa is big. It's a very, 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 very
Why
big
don't
deal.
you get her to talk to Chris and call Shepard?
It's not that easy.
Shepard.
Now I could easily get her to talk to Dax.
Is Barney around still for kids or no?
Yeah, it is. You know what Nick does now? Nick and Disney Channel, they do a lot of they'll show the new stuff and then they'll mix in like retro. Wow. Like there a lot. I'll get the brand new stuff. The Paw Patrol gets mixed in with Blue's Clues. Or like the Teletubbies and Barney gets it's
because all that stuff still works.
Yeah, it works. You
works.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it. Man. What's your training like now? I mean, because I would imagine there's a lot of benefit to being your size, but it's prohibitive. I mean, it's probably hard to squat or do certain movements at 6 foot. What are you 6'6"?
Yeah,
like that?
6'6". Yeah, 6'6".
Really makes it hard to do the movements.
No, it can. I just
how high? The higher the center of gravity.
It makes it different, but you don't. Do you have knee problems or anything?
I played basketball and pro wrestled, but I wouldn't say I got problems. I'm aware that they're there, and I've used them to this point. But
so the WWE, is that what the?
Yeah, I trained with the WWE. I trained down in the Deep South, which is their training facility. But it's a different thing. I mean, you get instant adulation. You hit a guy with your finishing move, and it's pop. It's just so much different than the film and TV.
Sure.
For me, it's just. It is.
But we're starting to see, like, it used to be unheard of. I mean, The Rock was really the exception to the rule. I mean, people, Hulk Hogan acted, but no one ever did. We're really starting to see, like these guys, it's really difficult. That's showmanship. On a nightly level, you got to go in and you got to perform at a high level.
Okay, yeah, think about it. You got to develop your own character.
Yeah.
You got to do it all in one take. In front of the most unforgiving audience known to man. So you're doing your own stunts in your underwear, and at the end of it all, when you're out of breath, they throw you a mic. Well, let me tell you something, kids. I mean, dude, you're doing it all on a live feed, and then pack up and do it again the next night in the next city. No off season, all year round.
This is a dark question.
Our dear friend is the Iron Sheik.
Oh yeah, well the Iron Sheik. He's not our dear friend. He's my Lord and Savior. I love him. We share a birthday.
He put my picture back up on his Instagram or his Twitter.
Yeah.
As he should.
As he should. We share a birthday, the Iron Sheik.
Really?
So every year I get a nice text.
Nice.
You respect the legend, Jabroni. Happy birthday. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
This is a dark question, but I think it bears asking. And, with Dr. Drew here, and I'm an addict myself. What world is more riddled with addiction? The world of WWE or the world of Hollywood? Because they're both is kind of that folklore of there being addiction.
Well, you could. I mean, pick your poison. I think they're both riddled to an extent. I mean, with the wrestling, you're always injured, so there's guys looking for. I need pills for the pain.
Right.
Geez, I can't sleep. I got a match and tomorrow. I got to sleep. I can't wake up. So there's a little more reason.
Yeah.
As maybe guys in Hollywood are having more fun with it. I think it's still an addiction, and I think they're just better reasons in the WWE and pro wrestling to say, hey, I need it for that. I got to perform. I can't do it without. Oh, okay. As opposed to being in Hollywood, hey, you're at a party or I can't sleep that night and stuff like that. So I think where's there more? I don't know. It's definitely in both, but I don't know where more would be. To come back to your question, stunt guy acting.
Yeah,
exactly, and that's the time I got into pro wrestling. I did Tom Selleck's movie of the week called Sea Change. I did Outlander with Ron Perlman. I just started acting. WWE got a hold of me. I'd been in the independent circuit for 4 years, and they had got a hold of me and said, "Come down and train with us." Great. So I go in and train with them, and a couple guys like, "Hey, when you're in that Outlander film," like, "Yeah," and I was trying to do this. And The Rock at the time had just done Tooth Fairy.
You can't handle the tooth. I remember that was the slug line.
Hulk Hogan didn't really pan out as an actor. Roddy Piper a little bit, and so people was like, "You're going the wrong way here. You've already been in film." And then I'm like, I'm going to be seen like a stunt guy. And there wasn't any wrestlers really doing it. At the time, I knew I could act. I've done this stuff with Tom and Braun, and I know I could do this. So I had to kind of get out of my contract with them. And luckily, they let me go.
They were cool about it.
Yeah, and I went the road less traveled. I've been auditioning. Now I see all the wrestlers getting the push. Edge has got some stuff. I mean, Edge both read for Vikings. They went with him for Katil Flatnose in season 5. He's got more followers and all that than I do, obviously. So I took the long way around. But I got more tools in my work belt now, and I'm very confident in what I bring to a set. So I'm really happy, and I'm at a beautiful place in my life, man.
I've been lucky enough to interview Ron Perlman, in on the radio.
Great dude, great.
Very cool guy.
So
seemingly
cool.
very down to earth.
Cool.
For considering the life he's led, he could very easily not be.
Yep.
Did he give you any words of encouragement that kind of kept you going in the dark times?
He said to me this, and it stuck in my head: "Take the high road. The snakes can't get you there."
With his voice too, it probably sounded amazing.
So I'm just always and I came back down to L.A. We reconnected again. He got me in a meeting with his over at Gersh agency. We didn't end up signing with Gersh, but he opened some doors for me. He's a great human being. Another one. Him and Bob Saget both. Can't say enough.
Bob Saget is a very weird man in that he's, and this is me talking, Drew. He's fucking gross, but he's the nicest, really the kindest, really very well-adjusted guy. I mean, I don't know how you do that.
If anybody,
he's fucking very gross.
If anybody could be like an asshole, it could be.
Oh, sure.
Saget, but he's so not. I just find him so generous on set. He's so giving. It's with his time and his energy, and it's just like, man, you could be a real jerk, but you're not. I really had to hold him in high regard after that. After I worked with him, for sure. I
rarely meet people who enjoy talking pussy as much as I do. But
Saget does?
Oh, yes.
I've never had.
But yet at the same time, he is.
Evidently, James hasn't either. We're looking at you like, really?
Really?
Yeah. Bob's a nice.
I've heard. I saw his rendition of the Aristocrats. He threatened. Well, he did a little presentation before the film. We went to this filming at the Beverly Hills Film Festival. And if you notice, he's threatened to tell the joke, the Aristocrats.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was on the film, The Aristocrats, and you need to see that film. It's all comedians telling this one joke over and over again.
Oh, wow.
And Bob is the filthiest, by far.
He's a filthy man, but yet, like I said, he's like such a grade A
Well, that's
being.
what's so crazy about it. And I didn't know he was that filthy until I saw The Aristocrats. And
He's
I was
that
like,
filthy.
oh, my God, Saget.
Did you see him on Entourage? He played a character on Entourage that was like, a coke fiend, womanizer.
I didn't see that.
And I'm so used to seeing him on Full House, and I watched it. And I was like,
I love that. I love the idea of the counter type. I love that.
So then I'm thinking, is that really the real Bob Saget? And I'm like,
no.
The dichotomy of modern man.
There it
is.
is.
What it is.
There
Our guest, James Preston Rogers. I actually have some email questions if we could dive into. This from Emma. It's a good question. It's a dark one, but it's a good one. What is the best way to deal with compulsive eating and stress-induced sugar binges, similar to reward center needing a hit?
Right. Well, we've talked in previous podcasts about eliminating carbs. I don't know if you have to do this, but I have to do it. So, and for me, I can relate very strongly to the reward and addictive quality of carbohydrates. I mean, I'm here to testify. If I were her, I would advise, look at that anabolic diet. That's what you got me to do.
Yeah.
I was very resistant because A, I didn't want to give my carbohydrates, and B, I'm like, I've tried everything. I'm telling you something. Do this for real. It's pretty simple. Just meat and eggs, and eat more fat, eat more protein, eat no carbs or starches, and it's rather remarkable how all that reward stuff sort of settles.
Yeah, the body realigns itself. Yeah, it readjusts.
It's crazy.
Taste buds change, cravings change. Yeah,
it's it's uncanny.
Well, that's why
Mark Bell and I were like, it's weird, isn't it? We both were like, it's just bizarre, but it is.
And it's why we've gotten along for a couple million years, and we've managed to remain at the top of the food chain. The human body's wildly adaptive. I mean,
adaptive in general. Yeah,
yeah, and if you can really.
Here's
suffer
the deal.
through it for a little bit.
If we were right now, we're in a state of relative famine and couldn't get animal meats, bread would be a good source of calorie.
Yeah.
And we would use it appropriately in that setting. That's not the condition we're in right now.
Right. And that you pointed that out. I was listening to Steve Maxwell talk about different cultures on Earth, because he's a guy who lives out of a hockey bag and travels the world and sees all these different fitness cultures. And he said the one thing you learn when you get to see people in the plains of Africa and then go to the Czech Republic a night later and do fitness seminars in each, there's ripped cultures that ripped to the bone. They're completely shredded, and some of them live on starchy roots, and some of them live on completely animal-based diets. The others,
and to be fair, some of them have certain genetic heritages that are endemic to that locality.
Yeah.
So they're already adjusted genetically, not just in real time in one's life, adjusting to the environment. This is a genetic heritage that's adapted to those particular eating styles. Totally.
Here's another question.
What's your ethnicity?
My dad's from Ireland, my mom's from England, and I'm Canadian.
No, but you must be Nordic or something. Right?
Well, my dad's Irish, like they're Irish, English.
Yeah, so it could be,
it's like a Highlander.
Yeah. Could be something of
badass.
Well,
it goes Scottish, Nordsman. That's where they came from.
It's the next step. It's like the softball throws way, as far as like from an evolutionary sense. This is from Tom. I believe this is aimed at you, Dr. Drew, because I don't have a son. You mentioned on KBC that your son was on the heavy side when he was young. My 11-year-old son is healthy and active but overweight. Did your son grow out of it? I don't want to give him an eating disorder, but concerned about his weight and social issues with that.
It's
great questions.
Yeah,
those
are really dicey questions. I think all you can do is encourage sports and athletics, work, healthy exercise activities and healthy eating. And just encouraging. He's got to come to it on his own.
Yeah, and healthy encouragement.
Yeah, not intrusion.
Yeah.
So like supportive, loving. Not
so hard because we how many times have we gotten that question about a romantic partner? My wife's getting or my husband.
Except it's a little different with kids because your anxiety will get picked up by the kid and transferred in their mind to I'm impaired. There's something wrong with me. So your anxiety you've got to keep within your own body boundary and not let it leak out into your kid. It's got to be about the child, not about you and your anxiety. Just keep it flat. Is it with everything at parenting? Get yourself out of it. You need to be out of it.
Totally.
Yeah. It's so hard though. Like, I don't have to deal with that. Luckily, my daughter's only 4. So how much can you really? Yeah. Because I can lead by example. I don't eat sweets and I eat very healthy and I don't have any really bad habits. I don't drink and I don't smoke. Blah blah. But
your kid will do the opposite.
Talk about your penis a lot.
Yeah,
Talk about your penis a lot.
Not that much in front of her. She likes to talk about my penis.
Oh, boy, that's awesome.
She likes to talk about my penis.
I thought you talk about her vagina.
Vagina.
She's like, Dad, it wasn't a very long swim. I remember your penis.
She likes to talk about her vagina, and I can't avoid letting her know that her vagina bugs me. And so I can say all the words I want, but she said, like you pointed out, senses my anxiety about it. So what she does
doubles down.
She gets butt naked. She starts tugging on it. She's like, Papa, look at my vagina. And I'm like, no, it's
Hopefully she grows out of that.
Yeah. Before
for Department of Social Services, he lives in Venice, California.
Yeah, but she when I say she likes to talk about mine, I don't mean she is fascinated that I pee standing up. Yeah. That mine comes out and hers goes in. She thinks that's just the coolest thing in the whole wide world.
Speaking of which, man, we are all over the place today. But in terms of gender play, I think that's what I'm going to switch to Stern Show for a second here. Sure. I think that's what Ronnie's stuff is about. He's tantalized by.
Well, okay. I'm glad you brought that up. I know that's getting off in the weeds, but we like to talk about comprehensive health.
Yeah.
Sexual health is something that we don't deal with often enough, I don't think, on the show.
Yeah.
And you were talking about a guy who is not – people think like, oh, if you put stuff in your butt, you're gay.
We're talking about Ronnie, the limo driver now.
I couldn't disagree more. Yep. I think that he's hypersexual.
He's hypersexual. He's looking for intensity. And in my experience, guys that do that tend to be hypermasculine. Yeah. That tends to be my experience.
My question is, as someone who suffers from that, I think I'm hypersexual, and I try my best to regulate it, but – if you're within the boundaries of a healthy relationship, so I'm not going out and getting hookers, I'm not cheating. Yeah. How far is too far? In
your appendix.
I didn't mean literally. It's very funny, Drew. It's very funny every once in a while. How far is too far to?
As Adam will say when indulge? I say something like that, you go, keep using that mind for good.
Yeah, every once in a while, Drew. It's like dime for scale or nickel for scale. That was your
I would think until someone gets uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're in a healthy relationship and you guys are pushing each other's buttons, I think until someone has the safe word.
But it's hard though. You can kind of, if it's a slow incremental slide, you can.
As long as you're both adjusting, I think that as long as you're both adjusting with the slide. Mm-hmm. He's saying where is there? I don't think there is a line. If you're both consenting adults and you're both in a healthy relationship, I think all is fair as everybody's having a good time.
Good. Then my prostate's back.
It's a little bit. I'll tell you where I'm thinking about Jason Ellis right now when I address this. And then I think about you because Jason and Mike are addicts, and when you start cutting and things like that, that's so extreme, and you're having euphoric recall and stuff. Then I get worried.
Yeah, I think that was more along the lines of my question. Is that that's a perfect example. It's like how far is as long as I'm.
When he went to a dark area there with the cutting at one point. I called him up and said, "Dude, are you okay?"
Yeah,
and he was upset that I called him.
But I could see that, like in my desire to continually stimulate myself, as long as I'm not cheating. I could see myself going too far.
Now but let me zig into what I was saying about Ronnie. Ronnie lies on his back when he's doing this stuff. Yes. He talks about his tush being his man C, right? Right? Doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
and when he was hypnotized and they told him he was a girl, he was tantalized by that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of what he's getting, what the arousal that he's getting from it. I don't think you do that. I think you just like the straight out intensity.
I just like dropping loads. I mean, and I feel like however that happens,
good.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
And if I discover that I can have that with my wife putting snorkels in avocados, you know what I'm saying? I'd be buying all the avocados.
I don't want you to end up in the emergency room.
Okay.
So avocado is going to get you there.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. Dude,
I'm learning so much. Thank you. Yes,
it was a real pleasure having you on the show. Honestly,
Thanks
it was a real pleasure to meet you.
Oh,
is there anything you'd like to promote? Anything else you'd like to pimp out?
What I got? I just did Benjamin with Dr. Drew.
That's coming out in the fall.
Yeah. I got a film called Alpha Wolf. It's a werewolf film that's coming out probably this summer. Should be.
And if you see a giant guy in a huge black duster and a huge hat, and if you happen to come across him at a premiere, it will freak you the hell out.
Just say hello. Now you know.
You can say hello to him.
He's a very, very cordial Canadian. Don't be scared.
Thanks for having me, man. This is
my
a great
pleasure,
show.
man.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Doctor. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to mention our friends at Bergamet Sport, a supplement that provides all the cardiovascular benefits of the original Bergamet, but with additional additives designed to aid athletes and those with active lifestyles. Bergamet Sport is recommended and used by professional and college athletes throughout the world, helps them improve stamina, reduce recovery time, and muscle inflammation. Bergamet Sport is Informed Sport certified, so athletes can feel confident that it's all natural and it has been banned substance tested. But even if you're not a pro athlete or just getting a workout once a week or so, Bergamet Sport is still worth a try. It can help you work out harder, recover easier, without worrying about being sore or tired the next day. I've used the products myself. I've recommended them to patients. We use them in our family. And I've done so just as physicians and cardiologists around the world have done. And Bergamet Plus is excellent for what's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which has just passed all other forms of liver disease in terms of causing cirrhosis. So it's something that is a major health issue presently and needs to be paid attention to. For a limited time, our listeners can save 10% on their order by entering code DRDREW at checkout. That is DRDREW, all one word. Try Bergamet Sport for yourself. Visit bergamet.com. That is BERGAMET.com. Or just click the Bergamet banner at drdrew.com.
Hey, everybody. It is the Swole Patrol podcast. You can find me on Twitter at Mike Catherwood. And Dr. Drew is at Dr. Drew, of course. Join the email list today. Send your questions. drdrew.com/contact. And put Swole at the top of the email so we can get your comments. And this will get you a weekly email reminder with a link to this show and all the great shows that Dr. Drew and I do and all the shows that Dr. Drew does by himself and, of course, with Adam Carolla, the great Ace Man. Please tell a friend and subscribe on iTunes. Don't forget to rate us 5 stars. And on Podbean or Google Play. All 3 help us out. We also are on YouTube/Dr. Drew, and hope you can give us all your comments, even if you're a troll and you want to destroy our feelings and our emotions. Support our sponsors and the show. Click on the banners on drdrew.com for the links to products for special discounts for the products Dr. Drew and I endorse 100%. Send questions and comments to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Swole Patrol Podcast, or on Twitter at Swole Patrol Pod. Also, browse drdrew.com for the This Life podcast that I co-host on occasion and all the other shows available like Adam and Dr. Drew and the This Life podcast. A lot of great stuff. Don't forget to check me out on K-Rock in the mornings on the Kevin and Bean Show. And be good. Be swole. #Swole Patrol.